As blokes, we love a good midlife crisis. And when you have a midlife crisis, traditionally there's only been one of two options. You either buy a bicycle and get the Lycra on, or you buy a convertible sports car. And when you want to make the most obvious midlife crisis statement of all time, there's only one option: Porsche.
Mate, you're kidding yourself. Midlife crisis is all about having people take another look at your rugged handsomeness and grey locks, so you want something that's going to turn heads. Jaguar.
Jaguar. Good to see you brought your dad's car along, Wardy. I said midlife crisis, not retirement gift. This is an old man's Jag. And regardless, I was starting to get grey hair, then it started falling out, so I reckon I'm the expert.
Touché.
Yes, we know everybody says a Porsche Boxster is a poor man's 911, but this new 718 Boxster S makes more power than a 997 Carrera did. So back here, we've got 2.5 litres of turbocharged German engineering that makes 257 kilowatts and 420 Newton meters, and it's mid-mounted, so the handling's absolutely perfect.
Well, this thing is the spiritual successor to the legendary Jaguar E-Type, the F-Type S, and under its really cool forward hinge bonnet is a 280 kilowatt, 460 Newton meter supercharged V6. And unlike in the Porsche, you can actually see it. And it's kind of cool.
I have to admit, the engine's cool, and this Jaguar is a particularly good-looking car.
Well, while the Jag is a good-looking car, I have to say the Porsche, particularly in white, it's a really nice-looking thing, the 718.
That is an attractive car.
The interior, though, a lot of buttons going on there.
I've got less than a 911, and I've got one button for every function.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, I have to say, you know, driving a Porsche, they're nice and ergonomic and everything, but it is a bit cold.
Bit clinical for you?
Yeah, I have to say. But what I've always liked about Porsches, double storage.
Very handy.
The boot here, especially, because you can check out your engine.
Behold my beautiful engine in all its glory.
I think I like the way they do this. You can have a yellow lid or a blue lid.
I work on my own Porsche.
It's the only thing they let you touch.
I service my own Boxster.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, you can give me a bit of stick about my engine, but let's have a chat about your boot. Let's talk about that.
Do we have to?
Show me the boot.
Look at the massive deck lid that you get.
Huge deck lid.
The huge surprise that's underneath.
Oh, look
at that. Of the world's most embarrassing boot.
Just enough room for your man bag.
It is pretty useless, really. And have you seen one of these with a spare tyre in the back?
It's not good, is it?
No, you can't fit anything. But enough about that. How about this interior?
Let's move along.
Crafted by artisans is what you'd have to say. You've got double stitched leather, you've got contrast leather, you've got lighting designs, you've got all sorts of cool things, but there's some stuff that kind of lets it down a little bit.
There are some things that let it down, and firstly, I do love a coat hook that doesn't actually have room to hang a coat on. I don't know what that's for, but what does this cost? About 150 grand? Because the interior looks
176 plus options.
Ooh, that's expensive.
Yeah, and those plastic paddles.
Yes.
Standard.
I do like plastic paddles. Who needs hand-carved alloy when you've got plastic?
And that's the thing. But see, Porsche is, I guess, king of the option bag. What do you got on this thing? Sport chrono?
You need that. You have to have
PASM?
that. You have to have the active suspension.
The crests on the headrests?
Probably do without those.
The 20-inch Carrera Classic wheels, I do like those.
I do
it
like
does
those
look pretty
as well.
smart.
So if they're a $20,000 option, tick that box.
So we're basically looking a little bit more power.
Yep.
Price parity.
Yeah. How much more does this weigh?
Yeah.
How much more does it weigh?
Without me in it.
Yeah.
400 kilograms.
No
more
wonder
than the
that's
Porsche.
faster.
Well, look, why don't we go find out?
Let's try.
All right, mate, why don't you switch it on? There's just something I want to check. Yeah, when you're ready, just switch it on.
No, the tacho's going, it's on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
See, this is a car. That's a proper midlife crisis noise. Let's go.
So there's no doubt that this Boxster S is now a proper sports car, and the minute you find some twisty roads, all that precise German engineering comes into play. And I can tell you one thing, Wardy has not got a hope in hell of keeping up with me in that Jaguar.
Hell, he's going for it. Now, here's where you're going to feel those extra 400 kilos in the Jag. We're just not going to be able to keep up with that nimble little Ford.
257 kilowatts, 420 Newton meters and 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds, so there's no doubt it's a seriously quick sports car. Now, people might be moaning that this is a 4-cylinder engine, but the 2.5 litre turbocharged unit is incredibly smooth and works unbelievably well with the 7-speed transmission, especially in Sport Plus mode. The shifts are so precise that you don't lose any momentum whatsoever. In fact, every part of this Boxster S driveline is like a scalpel. It's so precise and so sharp that you can drive it way quicker than you ever thought possible.
Now, totally aside from that ridiculous exhaust, the Jag's got some pretty solid numbers. As we said, there's 280 kilowatts, which come on at 6,500 RPM, but that 460 Newton meters of torque is available from just 3,500 RPM. So you can really get the car off the line and, well, picking up a lot of speed very quickly thanks to the big supercharged V6. And that response, you can hear it. It sounds terrific, and it's got this real, I guess, shove in the back as the Jag picks up speed. It's got a lot of straight line speed, but the problem is through some of these tighter corners, you've got to back off a lot because it's an awful lot of car to move around on a tight road that this one is. And if you push a little bit too hard, you can feel the back, well, wiggling around a little bit, being a big rear-wheel drive. And quite frankly, I'm too old for that.
Every element of this chassis and drivetrain is perfectly tuned. The steering, razor sharp. The handling, beautifully balanced and neutral. There's almost no body roll, no matter how hard you push it into corners. The brakes are exceptional, zero fade, and with the engine and gearbox working perfectly together, it's just an unbelievable package. You can really drive this Boxster S as hard as you like.
Now, it's an automatic gearbox in the Jag. It's a 7-speed, and you do have a paddle shift here on the steering wheel, which, as you can hear, every time you change gears up or down, you're treated to a wonderful, wonderful noise, and that poppity pop of the exhaust, which is entirely addictive and terrible for your fuel economy, we might add. But it's a very slow gearbox. It's not a fast multi-clutch system that you get in a car like the Porsche, for example. So when you're changing, it's a lazy change. The car is much better suited as a Grand Tourer than it is as a pointy sports car.
Looking at the pricing, this Boxster S costs $143,100 plus on-road cost, but there's also an extra 30 grand worth of options added into that mix.
I can see Trent doing his in-car records up there. It's just showing why the Jag is the thinking man's choice.
The best thing about this car is the efficiency. Porsche claims only 7.3 litres per 100. Man, that thing's loud. I've got to admit, the exhaust note's amazing and it does look really, really good on the road.
Whatever Porsche do with their design, it might not be revolutionary, but what they do, they do well, and I have to say, it looks good. I want to have a go. Hey, swaps?
Read my mind.
Well, the first thing you note about the Boxster from the Jaguar is it's just so much lighter everywhere. It's not just the weight saving of the car. 400 kilos, it's pretty substantial. It's 4 extra of me in the car, but it feels lighter to steer and lighter to position on the road and substantially more nimble than the Jaguar does.
This Jaguar just simply isn't as good dynamically as the Boxster S. It isn't the measure of the Boxster anywhere that you care to mention. It doesn't steer as well, the handling isn't as sharp, the gearbox doesn't shift as crisply, and the engine doesn't deliver its power as cleverly to the ground either. It's heavier, it feels weightier, you can feel the weight transfer from left to right as you turn into corners, and the gear shift's a little bit sluggish, it's a little bit slow to respond. But, and this is a really big but, when you've got an engine that sounds like that, I mean, have a listen to this. Listen to that noise. When you've got a soundtrack that's that good, and when you've got a car that looks as beautiful as this Jaguar does it really matter that it's not as dynamically good as the Porsche? I don't think so.
It is a lot kind of colder and more clinical in here. And you know what? You can even hear the Jag, and we're in the Porsche. That's how ridiculously loud that car is. Look at that. Stupid. Oh, mate, it was nice to get a bit of wind blowing through the hair. Well, in my case, it was anyway.
I'd agree, but I don't have any. Yeah.
So what did you think of the Jag?
I have to say the Boxster is an exceptional vehicle, and I almost hate myself for saying it because Boxsters used to be soft, but I tell you what, that Boxster S is pretty good. But the Jag has really, really grown on me.
It's a pretty likeable thing, isn't it? There's that noise, the character, the look of it. Like, it even looks great parked.
Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing. And you know, come to think of it, the more I drive it, the more attracted to it I am, the more I like the way it feels. And it's a little bit rough around the edges, a little bit uncultured, a little bit loud and obnoxious. Probably why it suits me so well.
But it's beautiful as well, just like you know. Well, see, the same thing for me with the Porsche is even watching it on the road and driving. It's a slot car. It does everything so well. It's cool, but it's cold at the same time. It's not really
very clinical.
It's not quite as I guess an experience as the Jaguar, but I really like it. I like how practical it is. I like how usable it is. It's lighter, cheaper, faster, superlatives galore. I think I'm a Boxster man.
Well, it looks like I'm taking the cat home slowly, but making a lot of noise.
Well, there we go. Sounds like we've swapped. So while we're here, do you fancy a bit of fly fishing?
Oh, no, look, I can't. I've got a charity bike ride I've got to go to.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I'd love a coffee though.
Oh, Sam.
Sam, the camera.
We need the outtake.
Supposed to bring us
So
a
just
coffee.
to all of our YouTube viewers here, we have a rule on a CarAdvice: shoot that the last person to arrive.
Last person arriving.
Brings the coffees. Sam, photographer, last person. How's your coffee, Trent?
No coffee. Like Chopper said,
I
or was it Neville Bartos? Coffee here, none. There's no coffee here, Chopper.
I'm in a caffeine jonesing kind of mode.
Yeah, thanks,
What's going on?
Good
Thanks,
on you,
Sam. Good job, though.
Thanks, Sam.
Great photos.